ladies and gentlemen. 4 more days to go. The embargo lifts tonight. What a time to be in this world. What a time. What a time. What a time. Mark 12 talks about a leader, a man who owned several vineyards, and he left some servants to take care of them, and he sent some other servants to go check on them. And what they did was they beat these people up, they stoned them, they wounded them, and then they sent them back to the master, the man who owned the vineyard, the man who hired them. And so he sent his only son to these people. And he said in his mind, they'll respect this child, this person of mine, because he's like me. He's my son. But instead, when they saw him coming, they said, let's kill his son, and then the inheritance will be ours. So they killed him. And then Jesus asked the people there, he said, what do you think the owner, the master, the man who hired these servants, the owner of the vineyard should do? And then he goes on to say, the stone which the builders rejected, it became the head cornerstone of the building. And the cornerstone of the building is the foundation under which the building is built. Now, I say this to say this. When you take for granted, listen to me carefully, when you take for granted the goodness of people, and you look to find opportunity for yourself, listen to me carefully now. You're only thinking about yourself, and when you find an opportunity, you will kill, stab, backbite, backstab. You will speak evil of the very people who got you the opportunity where you are at. When you behave like that, remember, your days are numbered. Let me say it again. When you have been blessed by someone and given an opportunity, but instead you can only see yourself and how you can benefit, and you backbite and backstab and hurt other people to get what you want, your days will be numbered. I say this to say, a lot of people are ungrateful in this world today. Other people slave hard to present something to them and give them doors that they open to them, and they would turn around and they would slander these people who provided them with opportunities, and undeservedly they would slander them. And not only would they slander them, but if they find an opportunity, they will hurt them to achieve their ends. Do know, if you go that road, and there's several people in this life who have, your days are numbered. Love is the key to eternity, y'all. Eternal life comes from love. It don't come from nothing else. And if you don't pay in this life, you will pay in the next one. And there is a next one. If you cheat, lie, slander just to get to your ends, what you want, and you don't have no ethical compass, you don't receive what Wonder Woman will show you in the movie, you don't receive what you've seen in other comic book stories, that you must be selfless in this world, and you must think about other people in every decision you make. Try not to be heartless, callous, selfish, hateful, jealous, seeking revenge, callous. If you haven't learned that that's what these comic book movies try to promote for the most part, Some of them are pure crap. Some of them, these comic book movies, but we can ignore those. If you watch it, almost every single comic book movie. Recently we watched it, X-Men. We watched it, Logan. Logan didn't care too much about anybody else but himself and Professor X. But he had to look outside of himself. He had to care for somebody outside of himself who ended up being his daughter. And he gave his life for her. You have to understand, this world is more than your little inner circle. I was watching that former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden. And he made a very interesting point. Because the internet has become so impersonal, all we know about is these little people behind a keyboard somewhere or on a phone somewhere. And all of these people, they curse each other out and stuff. And we only look at other people's views on one narrow subject matter. I don't care what it is. We don't see them as individuals. We don't see them as people. If we were to meet them face to face, we wouldn't behave the way we do behind a keyboard. But because we're anonymous, because the person can't see our faces, because we feel the person can't find us, we don't have to confront them physically. So we become unedited in our thoughts and we curse people out. I'm guilty of this. We curse people out online because they don't share our opinions and views. And people are totally disrespectful online in social media. They sometimes trash movies online recklessly without thinking about the people that made these movies. And until a disaster happens, like what happened with Zack Snyder, like what happened with this brother, the guy who played Joker in The Dark Knight. I forgot his name right now. Who won an Academy Award posthumously. But all the time while he was trying to prepare for this movie, people were relentlessly putting the guy down. We got people online still relentlessly going after Gal Gadot. She can't act. She got no acting chops. She's so flat. She's so, what's the word of it? Wooden. It's easy to criticize, folks. It's easy to put people down. What takes courage and character is building people up in the face of them saying bad things about you. A real hero is not necessarily the person everybody's applauding and saying thank you for. Like Dave the Film Junkie said, shout out to Dave the Film Junkie. He said, how do people feel when they heard that Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide and died? Were they still saying the same things about Justice League? Why is it we have to wake up to the fact that we're dealing with real people who have real feelings to sober up and stop being drunken and reckless in how we talk to each other? I'm guilty of it too. So why I'm saying all of this is because that piece of scripture I just shared with you guys, even if you don't believe in the Bible, it got a good, solid message in it. You will notice that when I come online and I talk to you guys and I use the Bible, I try to break it down into a language you will understand, that you can use, practical stuff that you can use in your life, whether you believe in God or not. I had people come up to me and talking online, they come on my channel and talk about God is this and God is that. Look, man, I'm telling you who God is. I'm breaking it down how I see God. Now, what if what I say makes sense? Then use it. If it don't make sense, just because God's name in it, you know, Batman v Superman, they say, oh, in Batman v Superman, they're talking about God and God and God and God. So people signed off from the movie. They wouldn't listen to what the content of the thing was. Some people are quick to, when they feel offended about something, they shut down. You gotta grow up. You're an adult. You're not a little child that's throwing a tantrum. You're big grown people. Grow up. Listen to what somebody's saying. A more mature person doesn't sign out. A mature person listens first. May not agree with nothing the other person's saying, but you listen to see if there's anything worth listening to. So that's my little rant and talk before I get into what I'm going to talk about. It's long overdue. Hot Toys finally brought out the 1/6 scale Wonder Woman. And they did that, as you can see, this article was written May 27, 2017, but actually it was posted May 29th, which is today. Alright? Batman was featured as a 1/6 scale figure. Superman was featured as a 1/6 scale figure. By the way, that's a 12-inch figure, right? And now, so many months after, we got Wonder Woman, finally. But they did her justice. They did her justice. She does have an image of Gal Gadot. I would still argue they need to touch her up a little bit more. But she looks good. I'm just going to eliminate all of the page details, all these little advertisements and stuff here. I'm just going to show you the straight figures, okay? So here's the straight figure of Wonder Woman. This is from Batman v Superman, however, okay? Beautiful likeness of Gal from above. You know, they could have made more prominent her cheekbones, of course, because her cheekbones are pretty prominent. And she got that slight little beak there in her mouth. That's typical Gal right there. So this looks good. The likeness of this image looks pretty good. The suit looks kind of worn, as it should be. It's more than 100 years old, according to this story. So I like it, and even the hair looks real. You know what I'm saying? So Hot Toys did a pretty good job on that. Here it is close up. That definitely looks like Gal. Let's zoom in on that. Look at that. That definitely looks like Gal Gadot there. Right? From this angle, the light shining on it just right. Now, when I look at this figure, and we compare it, say, for instance, to the Kotobukiya figure of Gal Gadot, which you see right here. Let me zoom in on that. So this is a zoom in of Gal Gadot. This definitely looks like Gal's face. That looks like Gal. See, the beak is pronounced, and like I said, the cheekbones, it's showing up the cheekbones. See, they need to do a little better job on the cheekbones of this figure. I'm gonna zoom in again. You can't see it too far, but what this can tell you is the scale of the figure. So if you look at this little doll down here, which is also an iteration of Wonder Woman, and this looks like it's about 4 to 5 inches. So this has to be a 12-inch figure. So it's just showing you the scale there. Really nice though. Awesome to look at. Wonderful figure. I believe they got the mold of Gal there. This is a close-up of it again. This, in this lighting, this looks almost like Gal. Almost perfect. They almost perfected it. But again, like I said, you need to get the cheekbones. It's a little bit more prominent. The cheekbones of Gal is a little bit more prominent. So they had to work on that. But this definitely looks like Gal here. Alright. And this, again, when we look at DC's collectibles, the statue of Gal Gadot's Princess Diana, this again looks like Gal. Again, the prominent little beak there and the cheekbones. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect sculpting. Of course, the hair is not as well done. But other than that, you basically got Gal. This is definitely a capture of Gal. And again, that's a 12-inch figure. And this is an action figure, by the way, mind you. And they did a pretty good job with it. Don't get me wrong, but I still think that the prominent features of Gal still weren't quite captured here. You know, this definitely captures the prominent features of Gal here. And you do an excellent job with the lipstick and everything. You know, that's well done. The hair is not as well done as, say, this figure, but Hot Toys figure. But you know, DC Collectibles statue of Gal Gadot, fantastically done. And of course, the Kotobukiya figure is also well done. I still rate them over the Hot Toys figure, but the Hot Toys is doing pretty good. Okay, but the Kotobukiya figure, man, look at that. That's gotta go, man. They got the likeness down packed. Okay, they really got that down packed. That's almost excellent. When you think of that, that's definitely Gal's face. And again, the DC Collectibles got it well done there. When you zoom in here, this does look like Gal's face. I'm not gonna lie to you, it does look like Gal's face. You get now you see the beak and everything there. But I still gotta say that they need to still work on just a little bit on the cheekbones here. Look at it here. Look at it here. They got this down packed right there, and they got it down packed here. They got that detailing really, really, really well. And so they close to it though. They're very close to it. But you got to get that definition. That little cheekbone right there. It's just a cheekbone thing. And you got Gal down packed. Right? So, yeah, there you go. I don't like the pose, but yeah. They really got her down packed there. You know what I'm saying? But this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Again, this Batman v Superman. Hot Toys did a pretty good job. That definitely looks like Gal from the side there. Definitely. That is Gal right there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, I think these are still the likeness. Even though this is not as accurate as the Hot Toys in terms of detail and the hair and stuff, and even eyelash and stuff, they got the face. They really did. They nailed that face down. Fantastic. Oh, that looks like Gal right there. That looks like Gal. Alright. Now, in addition, Injustice 2, they give you the costuming for the Rebirth Wonder Woman, aka Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, which is really awesome again. So I just wanted to show you guys this. This is also fantastic stuff. So you can actually play a Wonder Woman that's dressed like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman in Injustice 2. So all of that we got here in this video, which is just all the good stuff I could find. And finally, when we look at the box office, CNBC covered an article which said that Wonder Woman is set to conquer the box office and may break the superhero movie mold. What they mean by this is, one, Fandango rates Wonder Woman as the most anticipated film of the summer at present. And two, studios have looked at superheroing films as flops because Elektra bombed, Catwoman bombed, and in the 1980s Supergirl bombed. Okay? So the executives feel that people don't want to see female-led superhero movies. But just days out before Wonder Woman is debuted, from May 15th to May 21st, Wonder Woman has been one of the most talked about movies. In fact, it's probably now more talked about than Baywatch because people went out and seen Baywatch. So it's probably the most talked about movie at this present time. In terms of new conversations, Wonder Woman is probably #1 right now. And other than that, we don't know who else is next. But what I can tell you is also cumulatively over time, Wonder Woman is in the top 3 most talked about movies for at the present moment in time. So I don't know what the comp score is for Wonder Woman. This is comp score tracks things. So it tracks products, it tracks movies, it tracks all kinds of things. And so the comp score for Wonder Woman, it ranks it in the #2 area at present. This was from May 15th to May 21st. We are really at the 29th now. Very close to the debut of the film, so I'm pretty sure it's at an all-time high right now. And also, it's not only probably the #1 movie talked about right at this point in time, but also cumulatively it's in the top 3, or it may be right now the #1 movie being talked about cumulatively. Oh, it's very possible. Now, the last time they tracked Wonder Woman Some sites were saying it was about 65 million. Others were saying it was about 90 million. Some were saying 105 million. It's going to open with. Strong social media buzz, according to this article, generational awareness and notable interest from women alongside the usual fan audience are driving our expectations beyond previously conservative levels, says Sean Robbins, chief analyst at boxoffice.com. A domestic opening close to 100 million is looking more and more possible, and that may not even be the ceiling at this point. With an estimated 120 million production budget, actually on Mojo it says 100 million, Wonder Woman is the biggest bet yet on a film featuring a standalone female superhero. Studios have not gambled on a major release on a superheroine since the 20th Century's Fox Elektra and Warner Brothers' Catwoman, both of which boomed more than a decade ago. The way Patty Jenkins has directed, there is just too much depth to it. You feel that somebody really loves this character and understands her dynamic, her point of view, said Paul, I can't pronounce his surname, the senior media analyst for ComScore. So at least some influential executives have taken that to heart. In 2014, email made public in a massive breach of Sony's communications, then Marvel Entertainment CEO Ike Perlmutter highlighted these failures, though the context of his comments was unclear. Alicia Grusso, editor-at-large at the genre website Movie Pilot, said studio executives have long been out of step with the fan community on this point. At the same time, Hollywood has simply failed to make good films based on women superheroes, and has been more forgiving of male-focused movies, she said. You also have male-led superhero movies that bombed as well, but they kept on getting made. For example, Batman and Robin. And there was another Batman film, right? We had Superman, bombed a number of times, and they still went back and made another Superman film, right? We got Daredevil. Well, they haven't made another Daredevil film, but this has been on TV, right? Netflix. So, I mean, she said, but when a female-led superhero flopped, it's because, people don't want to see a female-led superhero movie. You know what I mean? So, here's some other things. Here are the tweets about Wonder Woman. I love this this whole data here. So, there are 5% negative tweets on Wonder Woman, 35% positive tweets about Wonder Woman, and 60% tweets that are just neutral about Wonder Woman. And this was, I don't know when this poll was done, February 25th. This is a sentiment based on 860,000 tweets between February 25th and May 25th. Okay? So, I'm assuming this is tweeting about Wonder Woman, right? And this is from February 25th to May 25th. I'm pretty sure it's changed since then. But let's just keep it going. Analysis of social media sentiment shows Wonder Woman is more than holding its own in terms of generating as much interest as movies dominated by male superheroes, said Jonathan Cohen, principal brand analyst at Amobi. Between November 25th and May 25th, Justice League drummed up 17% as much digital content engagement as Wonder Woman did, while Spider-Man Homecoming and Thor Ragnarok trailed by 64% and 132% respectively, Amobi analyst shows. To be sure, those movies come out well after Wonder Woman is set to debut. Over the last year, however, Doctor Strange generated just 67% as much engagement as DC's Amazon Warrior. The movie stirred 21% as much activity as Logan. Hugh Jackman's final turn as a Wolverine after 17 years in the role. The failure of Catwoman in 2004 and Elektra in 2005 created a false narrative that audiences are not interested in female-focused superhero films, said Cohen. But the idea that action films starring women can't succeed has since been proven false, he added, pointing to the Hunger Games franchise and Suicide Squad, which largely revolved around Harley Quinn. In terms of femme fatale movies, these are not necessarily comic book movies. The Hunger Games grossed in $2.97 billion. Resident Evil $1.2 billion. Divergent $765 million. Underworld $539 million. And Alien $454 million. All of these movies were female-led movies. The main protagonist was a female. Hollywood has a tough time properly manifesting female superheroes on screen, but Warner Brothers has finally gotten it right with Wonder Woman, says ComScore senior media analyst Paul Dergarabedian. I don't know if I said it or butchered it. Who has seen the film? In his view, Warner scored a casting coup with lead actress Gal Gadot and director Patty Jenkins, and they have done the character justice. The way Patty Jenkins has directed this, there is just so much depth to it. You feel somebody really loves this character and understands her dynamic or point of view, he said. Wonder Woman could also be the movie that gets Warner Brothers on track after the first 3 films in its interconnected DC Comics universe, which were commercial hits but took critical drubbings, said Dergarabedian. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Movie pilots Grosso agreed, noting that the dark, gritty tone used in DC films has left fans divided. She predicted Wonder Woman could be a breakout hit with the broader public because it strikes a more optimistic note at a time when Americans are being inundated with bad headlines. She on her own is very inspiring, uplifting character. It sends a really good, hopeful, uplifting, inspiring message, she said. Right now, I think that's something that fans and general audiences alike can rally around. Okay? So, Tom DeChristopher, he's the guy that actually wrote this article. And it's really cool. It's really cool to read. Quite frankly, I gotta say, I don't know what the critical reception for Wonder Woman will be. I'm still not really sure. Don't really care. Be honest with you. Whether the critics love it or they don't love it doesn't really matter much to me. What matters is that it is a solid film, that it is linear, more linear than the other WB films, and that people can follow it, people all ages, all walks of life. And if this is the movie that we're getting, which by all hints is the movie that we're going to get, it's going to do just fine. It's just going to do just fine. A quick footnote, the only movie, origin film, in fact, there has never been an origin film that crossed $1 billion. Alright? So, I don't think this movie is going to cross $1 billion, period. Okay? I can't really predict because I don't know what kind of reaction to the movie will happen. So, depending on what kind of reaction we get and what kind of audience we receive, and also how people continue to react to this movie after some really big hitters come out. We're going to have Transformers coming out. We're going to have Spider-Man coming out. We're going to have that movie with the villain guy. I forgot what his name is. That's an animated villain. I forgot what it's called. That's coming out. And I think there's another one. So there's some huge summer blockbusters that are coming out. Okay, Cars 3 I think is coming out as well. So we got some huge summer blockbusters that are coming out. So it depends really on if people really love this film, they'll come back and see it, and more people will keep on seeing it, and that would be huge. So I can't really predict what Wonder Woman's success will be. I mean, you're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming coming after. And yeah, it's way down in July, but still, So it depends on if people are really enjoy this Wonder Woman film and just the significance of it and being a piece of history, I think a lot of people are going to go see it again and again and again. If you get that kind of reaction, Suicide Squad was a hint as to what to expect with Wonder Woman. I don't really care what the critical reception is. Now, it won't hurt it that the critical reception is very good, but that doesn't mean much because, critics have loved Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters of all movies. They love Ghostbusters. Now, Ghostbusters got a 75% fresh score from 75% of the critics, So, you know, it doesn't really mean much if the critics like it. It doesn't mean the audience will take to it. You know what I mean? Now, if, however, the audience takes to it, the most important thing is the audience, okay? If the audience loves it, if let's put it this way. If Wonder Woman gets a rating of above 80% with the audience, in fact, I dare say above 85% with the audience. This is all that matters is the audience, okay? At the end of the day, because this is about selling tickets. If it gets above 85% with the audience, you can be guaranteed Wonder Woman's going to do exceptionally well for its budget at the box office. Exceptionally well. That means the audience loved the film. And it's got to stay that way. It's got to stay at 85% for the rest of all time. It needs to stay 85% all time. That will tell us just how good this film is. And because this film is going to be a part of history, unlike Spider-Man, we've seen many iterations of Spider-Man. Okay, so this Spider-Man Homecoming is just going to be another Spider-Man film. Wonder Woman is different. Wonder Woman, this is the first Wonder Woman movie. So this is very, very significant. You guys got to understand how significant this is. And no critic in hell is going to take away that significance. So if the audience loves this film, it does not matter if the critics like it or not. It doesn't really matter. This movie is a milestone, and it's a historical milestone. It's going to be that way for many a movie after it. Doesn't really matter. Once this movie, and this movie will do well at the box office. Nothing's going to stop this movie from doing well at the box office. That's a given. But the point is, this is a part of history. This movie's a part of history. It's very, no pressure. But this movie is definitely a part of history. This is Wonder Woman's debut on the big screen. Alright? They tried to put her on the small screen in 2011 and they failed. Everybody was waiting on that pilot too, but the pilot never came out, right? This is Wonder Woman's big shot at the big screen. Okay? She is backed by a lot of people in the industry. But that's not enough. She has to be received by the audience. It does not matter if the critics love this movie. They can put it as 100%. 100% of the critics can love this movie. It doesn't mean anything if the audience, if you out there do not receive this movie. It's really completely up to you. We saw that Suicide Squad, it was you that made Suicide Squad a success. And it's, again, you have so much power, it's up to you to make Wonder Woman a success. And what will make Wonder Woman a success? Simply turning a profit. Because if Wonder Woman turns a profit, it opens the door for Wonder Woman 2. But more importantly, it opens the door for female-led superhero movies. Captain Marvel, who I'm looking forward to seeing too. I want to see that movie. I want to see all of them. Captain Marvel will have that chance, that fighting chance to be put out there and people actually receive it. Marvel hasn't put out a female-led superhero movie because of the pressure of being the first to do it. This is huge what Patty Jenkins is doing. Okay, so people say, oh, it's not the first woman or female-led superhero movie. We had Supergirl back in the 80s. We had Catwoman. We had Elektra. Okay, first of all, did any of them succeed? And the answer is no. So if Wonder Woman succeeds, and this is Wonder Woman we're talking about, this ain't Supergirl. This ain't Catwoman, this ain't Elektra. And Catwoman and Elektra, if you really think about it, they're not superheroes. Okay? Catwoman's not a superhero. She's an anti-hero. Elektra's not a superhero. She was a villain. Xena, Warrior Princess, she's not a superhero either. She's actually an anti-hero. She was a villain and she turned into a hero because of Hercules. Alright? So all those movies, except for Supergirl, are not really, in the true sense of the word, superhero movies. We saw what happened to Supergirl. Supergirl never even stood a chance. As Supergirl came out, she flopped. She did not survive at the box office. Mind you, Superman was flopping at the box office at the same time as well. So people were growing out of Superman. And Supergirl just came at the wrong time. You know? They were trying to couple up Supergirl with Superman. Then we were going to have some other super things. Maybe Super Dog, Super Cat, maybe. I'm just joking. They would open up the DCEU back then, probably. That's probably what they're looking to do. But my point anyway is, Supergirl didn't work out. Alright? Wonder Woman's run was finished on television. So my point is, we know the timing of this movie is just the right timing. Okay? We know the director of this movie was made to make a movie like this. The stars fell into alignment. Let's put it that way. It couldn't come at a better time. However, it's up to you guys to go see this movie. Alright? And don't get it twisted. There are people out there who are angry that this movie is coming out. There's still people out there. They're not in the majority. But they're there. And we've seen some of the negative news going out, and they try to harp on that negative news because they're hoping they can do something to hurt the DCEU, and they're praying that Justice League will fail. And you still hear them because they don't like Zack Snyder, or they just don't like the DCEU as competition for Marvel, not understanding. Folk just don't understand. I presented this to you guys before. I saw other people on social media and YouTube picking up what I said. I'm the first to say it. I'm looking forward to DC crossing over with Marvel. That will eventually happen. But you gotta let the DCEU grow. And never think that Marvel will suffer because of it. It will never suffer. Marvel will never suffer. What Marvel brings to the table, and they showed it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're going to show it again. And Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, is doing exceptionally well in the theaters. Okay, all the stuff about, the haters who don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's raking in more money than the first one. And I project that it will finish off somewhere around $800 and something million. Maybe even $900 and something million. We're talking Batman v Superman numbers. Okay? And I am rooting for them to get as far as they can. If they can make it to $1 billion, great. I don't think they will make it to $1 billion, but hey, I will hope they do. Because every time a Marvel film does well, it sets up for a DCEU film to do well too. It makes them raise their bar. See, if Wonder Woman does well, you know what? Captain Marvel is going to be much more easily accepted, and she will do well. All we want is, and we just want these comic book movies to do well. And Marvel got their style, and DCEU got their style, and Marvel got to step up its game. We know that. And the DCEU got to step up their game, and they're going to step up their game side by side. Alright? I'm starting to read Marvel comics. Guardians of the Galaxy got me reading them now. And my point being this. We cannot be haters, man. I've been saying this for the longest while. Men have told me I'm a DC hater. People have told me that I'm a Marvel hater. Okay? I just speak the truth. That's all I do. I don't try to lie to nobody. And I expose the lies when I see them. People say, "Oh, you're one of those people with the conspiracy theories," and I'm like, I don't bring conspiracy theories, buddy. I literally show you what people be saying. This ain't a theory no more. You know what I'm saying? This ain't a theory no more. I come from facts. I show you guys. If you're watching my videos, you don't see my face, but I show you guys the facts. Did I bring anything that wasn't factual in this video? So I mean, you guys got to know, I only bring facts. You look at all my videos. That's why I show you guys what's going on. I show you the hypocrisy. I show you the bias. I show you the motives. And yes, we cannot only judge people on the motives. Because in this world, we have to give everybody a break. Because nobody's perfect. But if your motives are dangerous, if your motives are to tear down an organization or to tear down things which are actually doing good, then it's my job to expose it. Alright? Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoy my videos. I know a lot of you enjoy my videos. I know my videos go all over the place because, you know, I always show people stuff, you know, that they may not have seen before. And they pay attention to my videos. I know. And I'm not just a DCEU apologist. People are beginning to realize that by now. They're realizing I love films and I love good films. I like good movies. And sometimes the critics say this movie in their opinion is a bad movie. And I say no, it's a good movie. And I point it out. I give my facts. I present my case. Why it's a good movie. And I hear, just up to recently there, I was listening to a YouTube video, I was watching it, and people were saying that Batman v Superman, this is my last point, this video is long, if you didn't speed it up before, speed it up now, but some people were saying Batman v Superman had great ideas and great potential, but was executed poorly. I disagree to a high extent with these people who are now saying that. Now I agree that there was some execution that could have been done better, but it wasn't poor at all. Even where Henry Cavill, when he was at the boot of Batman, where Superman was saying, you're letting him kill Martha, save Martha, right? That saved Martha scene. It could have been executed better, yes. But I cried when I saw the flashbacks with Batman. Because I didn't have in my ear haters making fun of that scene. And memes. You see what I'm saying? I went in when that wasn't circulating. And I had already been drawn in with Man of Steel. And I still maintain Batman v Superman is a far superior film to Man of Steel. I don't care if you're talking about the theatrical cut or if you're talking about the ultimate cut. I don't care which cut you talk about. It's a superior film. But for you to be able to follow the film, you need to be someone who can follow a independent film or a movie outside of the comic book genre. Not all comic book movies need to be in a linear fashion. One event following the next, following the next. Sometimes you can bounce around with multiple characters like they do in television series and so on. It wasn't designed like your typical comic book movie. It reminded me of an indie film. It reminded me even of those foreign films. Its approach was very creative. So that when people say, oh, and they suddenly become director, and they suddenly become editor, oh, this scene needed to be here, and this one was too disjointed. Didn't feel disjointed to me. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was a simple story for the most part. There were some intricacies in it though that I loved. Alright. But again, they used flashbacks at appropriate times. Sometimes they cut like raw. We call it raw cuts. You know, again, indie films will do this. Certain kinds of indie films. You want to give you that raw feel, that organic raw feel. So they give it unpolished like that. But for people to say that this was poor editing and poor pacing and poor this because you couldn't follow it, no homie. It was presented in a format you're not used to. And they say it was the worst. Batman v Superman was the worst comic book movie of all time, which is not true at all. We got Catwoman. We got Elektra. It's not an objective saying. Catwoman, Elektra, Fantastic Four, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can go on and on forever. You want me to continue? Alright. No, it wasn't the worst comic book movie of all time. Wasn't the, in some people's opinion, the theatrical cut was not the best comic book movie of all time. And I'm cool with that. If you say that. Because the consensus is that the movie was a 7 out of 10. That's the consensus by most people. Alright? 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't the great hype that everybody thought it was. Now for me, it was an 8.0 out of 10 to a 9.0 out of 10. Because for me, what I saw in that movie, elements of horror, thriller. I'm a guy that likes to mix and match and likes mosaics. So I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed the fact that I was scared in this movie, that I was sad in this movie, that sometimes I chuckle a little bit, even though the chuckling was very few and far between. I love the seriousness and the tone of the movie. I love the action scenes, especially the car chase. That was my favorite scene in the movie. And the entire cinema went up in uproar when Batman was doing his thing, and they got real angry when Superman stopped him. But my point is, with all the highs and the lows, what an experience. And whether you left the film feeling, what did I just see, to leaving the film feeling disappointed that Superman died, because this was, a lot of people were angry because Superman died and all of that. Regardless of what you felt in that film, it was supposed to make you think. And the fact that Batman v Superman was one of the most discussed films on the internet, because it divided people, but then there was so much hate going into the film. People was hating on this movie. They were trying to find reasons to hate on this movie because Civil War was coming out that year. So we know it was Marvel fans attacking people and stuff too. We knew there was a lot of elements in there. People who didn't like Zack Snyder to direct. They were angry. They were doing it after Man of Steel. It just was a lot of hate for this movie. A lot of vitriol. And the people came out, the critics came out, and as a lot of people said, the critical response for this film, they can't justify it. This film was not supposed to be rated so lowly by critics. And truth be told, the truth of the matter is that it was a very it wasn't controversial. It was a very divided film between some people. But what I did not like is how the establishment, all of the media outlets, they kept on saying over and over that most of the fans didn't like this film. That was a lie. Most of the people who watched the film, and I gave you all the evidence already, most of the people who watched the film enjoyed the film. They may have been confused with certain things, but most people liked the film. It was a minority that didn't like the film. And it was the majority of the few critics, 100 and something of them, that didn't like the movie. So it was really sad when I hear people say the majority of people didn't like Batman v Superman. No, most people like Batman v Superman. Did quite well in after movie pollings and stuff. So the hate and vitriol, mostly by people who were Marvel fans, mind you. And we had some people also who were fans of Christopher Nolan. They were expecting some kind of Christopher Nolan movie. I don't know what the hell they were looking for. But for me, I didn't have any expectations of the movie, but let it tell its story to me. Then I'd evaluate how effective it told its story. I always say, even going into this Wonder Woman movie, even though I looked at all set of clips and all of that stuff, I still don't know what the movie's about. And I'm going into the movie just to see. I have no expectations as to, I just want this movie to tell me what it needs to tell me. And see if it told me it in the right way. That's all it is. All this other judging and stuff, it's based on what the movie's actually saying and trying to say. Unfortunately, the art of critiquing a movie has been lost by most people. And so the people who are going in and so-called critics of movies are people who are already fanboys or fangirls of a certain thing or a certain cause or a certain organization. So we got fanboys and fangirls hating on movies and liking other movies. This is the nonsense we have to deal with. And so that's why it's very hard for me to respect critical reception of a movie now. Because most of these people, they're either bought, sold, or they're already, latched on like a fanboy or fangirl to a certain type of organization or a certain type of crusade, some political crusade or some stupid, just some ideology that you're never going into the movie giving it a fair shot from the get-go. You're not. Because you're already talking ill of the movie. You listen to people talk about its ratings on the critical score, and they're starting to predict this and predict that. The fact that you have to predict something tells me immediately you already have a bias, and you're going to go into this movie with some sort of presumption of what it's supposed to be. When you have to tell me about expectations for a movie and what you expect it to do, if it don't live up to your expectations and it does something else, then you're going to bash it. So those are people who you might as well have just made your own movie. You know what I mean? Because you didn't come in to watch a movie. You came in to make sure that this movie fulfills your checklist. And that's not the way how movies work. People feel that, and they're so opinionated and so selfish, people feel that things must fit into what they want. And it doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work that way. You have to sometimes align yourself with whatever is there. Yes, it's entertainment, but it's supposed to be entertainment that informs you. It's supposed to have some degree of informativeness. Otherwise, it's just candy with no nutritive value. So when these movies tackle issues that help to bring clarity to people's lives, just like how Joe Biden makes a speech, but he helps us to watch at ourselves, evaluate ourselves, and think about the people we want to be. How we can truly be heroes in this world, whether we get thanked for it or not. How we can express our voices in this world. Not everything is fitting. Yeah, you can curse and swear and carry on like an idiot online, but not everything that you do there, because you're in anonymity, means that it's fitting. We gotta have dignity still. We still gotta have a certain measure of decorum. So I hope that this long video speaks to somebody. It's not just because we need to have female superhero movies that you go and give Wonder Woman a plus. Just like how we had female Ghostbusters. So, oh yes, you know, it's about feminism, and we got to push feminism, so that's why we got to give Wonder Woman a good grade. No, that's not the reason. Come better than that. Was it a good movie? Speak the truth. If you don't think it was a good movie, then fine. If you thought it was a good movie, then fine. That's what it's all about. Like I said, I don't care what the critics do with this movie. What I care about is what you do with this movie. How has Batman v Superman affected your life? How has movies in general affected your life? You guys have a great one.